there's a lot of ambiguity around General Flynn's, quote unquote, misstatements. I love the word you used. I feel as well he was ambushed by the FBI in his office. But Clapper's, to me anyway, is a little bit more clear cut. Ron Wyden asked about, this is from Ben's piece in the Federalist, quote, Clapper responded untruthfully to a question from Democratic Senator Ron Wyden about whether the NSA collected any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans. Quote, no, sir, end quote. He, James Clapper, asserted, quote, not willingly, end quote. Clapper would then later admit in a written statement that his response was, quote, clearly erroneous, end quote. So you've got the former director of national intelligence who admits in writing that he lied to a United States senator under oath. No ambiguity whatsoever, Ben. None. General Flynn, very ambiguous. Clapper walks. General Flynn is prosecuted.
Yeah, you summarized it quite well. And this brings us to the question of, is there a double standard here? And when you look at these two men on paper, they kind of followed similar paths. Yes. They both rose to the top of the intelligence community. Both did so in the Obama administration. Now, what happens after the Obama administration?
And both did General Flynn, both did so after a military career. Clapper was an admiral, wasn't he?
Correct. Yeah. Both after long, successful military careers, right, by all accounts. General Flynn gets let go by the Obama administration. Why is he let go by the Obama administration? Well, it seems pretty clear-cut that the reason is that the intelligence that he was producing, the assessments that he was producing on what was happening in the Middle East, in particular with respect to the growth of ISIS, the fact that Al-Qaeda, quote-unquote, was not on the run. If they were on the run, they were on the run to Syria to help in part build this caliphate. He predicted all that. He predicted it in 2012, which conflicted with the narrative. And those are Mike Flynn's own words, by the way, in a New York Times article later. He said the administration and the intelligence community basically ignored the assessments that he was putting forth because it conflicted with the narrative they wanted to put forth, which is that terrorism was under control. There was not this massive metastasization of Sunni jihadism in the Middle East. And Flynn proved that there clearly was. And he was very prescient. I mean, if you read the assessments that he put forth, he basically predicted everything that happened in the Middle East. That really pissed
General
off,
Flynn, he was a brilliant man and universally regarded as a brilliant tactician and strategist. But again, Obama loved his sound bites, right? And Obama branded ISIS as the JV team, and General Flynn's analyses directly contradicted that. I mean, they completely debunked statements of the President of the United States. The Obama administration was not one that was open to critique. And so Flynn was doomed. I believe he was doomed the second he generated his first communique to the Oval Office about ISIS not, in fact, being the JV team.
Yeah, he said it wasn't the JV team. He testified shortly after that comment about the JV team in Congress, right, and essentially contradicted the president's position. And when you do that, you're setting yourself up to be fired, right, essentially, and he was. And so he was let go. And then he does the thing that you can't do if you are a member in good standing of the national security and foreign policy establishment. And that is, you begin to yell and scream that the establishment has screwed up the entire world, in effect, and you go and you serve as the right-hand man of Donald Trump, who is viewed as the #1 enemy of the political establishment in general, and in particular the national security and foreign policy folks. And General Flynn goes on stage and he chants, "Lock her up," to ex-Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, who is symbolic of that establishment.
Oh, yeah.
You've basically committed mortal sins.
You've committed career suicide is what you've done with the establishment, yeah. Love bringing you these shows and these really important topics, so please subscribe to our premium service at www.therebel.media/shows.